Welcome to CSBTV's celebration of Women's History Month. We will be looking back at some of our women guests who are making history in today's present. Let's take a look.
Storesy.com.
Welcome to another episode of The Artist Within. I'm Casey Bell, your host, and today's episode we speak with Emily. I won't even try to pronounce her last name. Emily is a unique artist whose artwork reminds me of an artist who she was inspired by. An artist I'm sure you'll be able to tell once you see the artwork. Let's start this interview. So my first question, how did you find the artist within you?
I think I know when I was a kid, I grew up kind of surrounded by artists. I mean, my grandma did it as a career. My dad always kind of just did it for fun. He never really did it for money or anything. He would just kind of draw monsters. My grandma did it she was really good at painting, but she did kind of the complete opposite of what I do. And then my dad would kind of draw monsters just to be silly, and I kind of took after both of them, I think.
Cool. So I asked this question because I grew up in the art world, and professionals always tell people there's a wrong way to do it. You shouldn't do it this way. That's wrong, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see unique art, I'm always happy that people decided to do things their way as opposed to the right way. And so
Oh, yeah.
what encouraged you to stay unique, to be you?
I think it's, I don't know, I always just when I first got into art, I think I tried too hard to make it look a certain way, and it just kind of stressed me out. But then once I started drawing just to have fun and enjoy it, that was when I realized that this was my real style. This was more me. I felt more myself. I think when I tried too hard to get proportions right and stuff, it didn't really work for me. So
Good. So you said you do commission work, correct?
I do, yeah.
Do you have any tips for artists on marketing, how you get customers and things like that?
I think when I first started selling my art, I would sell it at local shows and Comic Cons. I think that's the best way to get your work out, when you're first doing it, and then chances are, when you're passing out your business card at the shows, people are going to find you on social media and follow you. And I think that's how my audience kind of began to build up.
Cool. Any advice for specifically artists who have a gift, but they don't have any support telling them to do it? Any advice you have for them?
I would say to just do it because you love it. I mean, I would keep drawing every day, experiment with different supplies, experiment with different styles until you find something that you're comfortable with. And, maybe don't pay attention if someone tells you can't do it, or if it's you're not good enough, or you're not talented enough, or art's not a real job or whatever. Really just don't listen to them. I mean, I would just focus on you and do it because you love it. Do it because it makes you happy.
Okay. And the last question, dead or alive, name an artist you would like to have lunch and conversation with.
Definitely Tim Burton.
Okay.
You can probably tell by looking at my stuff that I'm inspired by him, but he just amazes me so much. I mean, his movies, his drawings, and I have a book by him called The Art of Tim Burton, which is just a giant book full of thousands of his illustrations. And it just amazes me looking at his stuff, how those little doodles turned into those big popular movies.
Yeah. You're watching the artist. You're watching The Artist Within.
Original artwork, special requests, novelties, prints, greeting cards, and caricatures. For more information about artist Emily Salkowski, visit her website at maisilumart.com.
Well, that's all for this interview. Join us again for another episode of The Artist Within. Thank you for watching. Are you an artist and would like to be featured on The Artist Within? Go to our website, csbtv.weebly.com, for more information. Welcome to Healthy and Wealthy Conversations, where we discuss everything that leads to health and wellness for your whole spirit, soul, mind, and body. Welcome to another episode of Healthy and Wealthy Conversations. I am your host, Casey Bell, and today's guest is Susan LeBach. Let's get this show started. So did you grow up, speaking that this book is on investments, did you grow up in a family with knowledge of investing, or did you have to figure this out on your own?
Such a good question, because no, my family had, well, my father probably did, but he certainly didn't tell us. He was a wonderful father, but he didn't impart to his two daughters anything about the stock market. I knew nothing. I went into the theater when I was 19. I went into the investment business some 25 years ago because I had kids that were going to go to college and I had to make a living other than Actors Equity pay. So I virtually had to teach myself. I did not know, Casey, I did not know the difference between a stock and a bond. But I remember the learning process. So it makes me a good teacher because I know, so many, I don't want to generalize, but I guess I'm going to. There are lots of people who are in the business who take for granted that their clients understand the verbiage and know what they're talking about, and they don't. Very sophisticated, well-educated people just don't. It's not their world.
Right.
So anyway, that's,
and
I don't know. Yeah.
Why? Because so many people, for myself, I know that prior to the pandemic, when we would have at church Sunday mornings, right before church, we would have a Sunday morning class, and one of the pastors would teach on finances and investing. And
Really?
yes, I know, weird, right? And I decided to look up the Bible myself first to see if investing is something we needed to do. And then from there, when I got my answer, I went to the library and got books on investing. And one of the things I realized is that not always, it's just that the loudest stuff you see about investing in film and television is negative.
Oh, you're so true. You're so right.
Especially my first introduction to investing was the movie Trading Places with
oh yeah, Eddie Murray.
Right, you saw that. And so that was my thought, that that's what investing is people just doing wrong things. And one of the things I had to learn was that everything, there's good people doing good things with it, and then there's just bad people doing bad things with it. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means, unfortunately, there are some people who are choosing to do bad with it. So in my research and studying on investing, I realized, I I didn't have any regrets. I started investing immediately. The thing was, I thought to myself, wow, all the years I could have been investing the money I would have already had. And so why would you say it's very important? Because some people just don't know, because like I said, you'll see reality show on everything, cooking, cleaning, raising your children. There are none on investing. And so why would you say it's very important for people to invest?
Well, as you point out, if you get started and keep going, you make yourself rich. And if you're aiming toward retirement, toward buying a house sometime in the future, whatever it is that you're looking at down the line, frankly, the only way I know, that maybe there are other ways, but the only reasonable, reachable way to make yourself rich is through investing. It's the only way. And I don't mean trading. I don't mean day trading. I don't mean buying penny stocks. I mean investing in quality companies. And you point out the movies and the television shows that show these smarmy people, doing like underhanded things. Well, I guess they think that's what makes a good story. Right. Telling the story of a good, honest stockbroker who wants you to remain in a relationship with him, her, for 40 years. That's so dull. That wouldn't make a good story. But I just applaud you for doing this. I applaud you for, first of all, listening to the preacher who told you about it, going to the library, learning about it, but then taking the step and actually getting into the market. Because that's the way to learn, is to do it. And don't do it with penny stocks or day trading or any of the other questionable investments that are out there.
Right. Well, one of the easiest ways I thought investing, I realized, because I used to have Netflix, and I thought, well, if I'm paying monthly on Netflix, I'm not making any money. Instead, if I take that money, invest in Netflix, I'm now making money.
Oh, wow. Are you smart? That is great.
When people say they don't have money, I'm like, well, yes, you get rid of Netflix. You don't get to watch all the shows you want to watch.
Yeah, right.
You're making money now. And instead of putting that money into Netflix, you're investing in it. So now you're making money back.
So smart.
And so
smart.
And like I said, I'm not watching anything on, the Wall Street. I'm not, screaming and hollering, yelling.
No, don't.
The money is automatic, and I just let it do what it does.
Set it and forget it. Yes. And the other thing I would say, though, know why you bought the particular stock you bought. Know the reasons you bought it. Management, product, whatever. And once those reasons have gone away, if they go away, then you look at your stock and you say, well, I did very well, or it went down and I didn't do very well, but the same reasons I bought it are not in effect anymore. That's the time to get rid of it, unless you can find other reasons to hold on to it. But you always should know the reasons why you own a stock.
So we kind of already talked about it. Can you share some misconceptions as well as some mistakes people make or have made in investing?
Well, for one thing, they haven't done what you've done, and that's doing your research. They haven't done what you've done, and that's doing it regularly, buying regularly. And the other thing is paying too much for a security because it's a real exciting hot stock. Let's get into it. I don't care what it costs. That, I think, is a mistake. I think if you simply wait for the inevitable, which is at some time, as you and I know, the market goes down, even if it's just for a day or two. But that stock you had your eye on, which was way too expensive, probably will go down too, and then you can get in. But the mistake would be, I would say, paying too much, not getting started and keeping going, things like that.
Right. So today, I'm sure there are a lot more options. There are many more options to get started than there was in the past. what advice would you give someone? Like I started with Stash as well as Acorns. Um, and I was scared. And when I started, I realized there was no reason to be scared.
No.
It's no reason to be
No.
scared at all. So if someone came to you, said, I haven't started yet, I want to start, I'm scared, what do I do? What would be there's also, getting a broker and going with the company, et cetera, et cetera. What's the first step someone can take just to get started?
First of all, find out what companies or industry is of interest. And then I would suggest looking at ETFs, the exchange traded funds, because ETFs enable you to buy a basket of stocks, of securities in a particular industry area. There are just hundreds, thousands perhaps of ETFs now. They allow you to buy anytime during the day, and people may not know this, but mutual funds only allow you to buy at the end of the day. So you have to take the price at the end of the day. But ETFs you can buy as what they say real time. And there's no management fee because they're not managed. It's a basket of stocks stuck in this basket, and you will grow, your money will grow as that industry or that area or whatever you choose. You can even do it on the indexes, as you know. But check out ETFs. I think that's a very good way for people to start, and to start slow, buy something small, just as you did, and that you found out you're not scared. Once you get in, your confidence is built. And that's my advice.
Cool. Okay, and then the last question about investing, just the top 3 important things you can think of, which I think you already touched on, it people should know about investing that they may not know.
Well, first of all, know what's an appropriate price. And without going into a lot of detail, I do tell about what we call the PEG ratio, price equal to or less than the earnings per share growth. And I go into it, of course, in much more detail. Know what an appropriate price is. Don't pay too much. One thing I didn't mention before, but I should, but always ask yourself, if you're doing it yourself, or your broker, if you choose to go with a broker, what could go wrong? The market, the people who are touting these stocks, they'll always tell you what can go right, but what can go wrong? I mean, is there a regulatory issue? Is management likely to leave? Those things that you bought the stock for, or you're going to buy the stock for. Find out how imminent anything is that could go wrong. Now, look, once you find out that, let's say it's very sensitive to interest rates, or it's got a lot of international presence. Once you know that, you probably will buy the stock anyway, or you may buy it when the market takes a dip, and so does the stock price. You know it, but you won't be scared. You'll say, I was aware that might happen, and I'm going to buy more when it goes down. But do know how your company or your ETF or whatever you purchased will be, could go wrong.
Rumpelstiltskin's Rules for Making Your Farthings Grow by Susan Labach is a guide to basic rules for investing told in 7 whimsical yet informative fairy tales. It's for all ages and includes a study guide. For details, go to susanlabach.com. That's all the time we have for you today on this episode of Healthy and Wealthy Conversations. I want to thank you for stopping on by to watch, and of course our guest, Susan Labach. Thank you so much for stopping on by and sharing with us. Have a great day. That is all the time we have for you today. Thank you for watching.